David Wellington, the CEO of Wellington Industries, stood in his gleaming corner office staring at the clock as if it might slow down time. He was moments away from what was supposed to be the biggest meeting of his career, a meeting that could lock in a $200 million contract with a Chinese delegation. But his pulse was racing. The official translator had just canceled. Family emergency, the dreaded words that felt like a sledgehammer in his gut. He could already see all those zeros slipping through his fingers. Anxiety crept in, and just then he shouted into the intercom, "Rebecca, we need someone, anyone, who can speak Mandarin." As silence hung in the air, a voice cut through, a soft but determined voice. "I can help," it said. He spun around to see Jasmine Parker, a 28-year-old cleaning staff member, her mop barely forgotten in her hand. At first he felt a mix of disbelief and irritation. Jasmine, the woman who scrubbed floors while executives walked past her, too busy to even acknowledge her presence. But she stood firm, her eyes clear and confident. "I'm fluent in Mandarin," she added, and somehow the awe in her tones turned his initial skepticism into intrigue. "Prove it," he said, all too aware of how he sounded. "Right here. Right now." To his astonishment, she rattled off a few lines in smooth Mandarin, each syllable rolling off her tongue with a fluency that was both impressive and disarming. As Rebecca strolled in, her eyebrows arched in immediate skepticism, David felt a surprising rush of determination. Maybe she was onto something. "Let's give her a shot," he said, pushing all doubts aside. "Jasmine, you're in." As Jasmine prepared for the meeting, the atmosphere had shifted. She had spent 3 years here, quietly absorbing the dynamics of the boardroom, the subtleties of conversation that set the room buzzing, the power struggles that played out among the executives. Little did they know she had a degree in Oriental linguistics from Howard University, a fact she usually kept to herself as she navigated her roles as a janitor. When she showed up dressed in a formal suit, complete with polished shoes that sparkled under the boardroom lights, it was like watching a caterpillar transform into a butterfly. Rebecca nearly choked on her caffeine. The executives stared, falling silent. Jasmine walked in confidently, a composed expression on her face that screamed, "I belong here." The meeting began, and Jasmine seamlessly translated every word, pitching perfectly, every subtlety captured. You could almost taste the tension. Rebecca, sensing her influence dwindling, tried to undermine Jasmine at every turn. "Don't you think that someone with a cleaning background might find it challenging to translate complex market strategies?" Rebecca said with a smirk, arms crossed, as if guarding her territory. Jasmine turned to her, her voice steady. "With all due respect, Rebecca, we make our decisions based on competence, not background. I believe my education and experiences give me a unique perspective, one that can actually strengthen our approach with our partners here." The Chinese delegation exchanged glances, eyebrows raised at Rebecca's condescension. Suddenly the dynamics shifted. They were leaning in, interested, captivated. Jasmine felt the weight of years spent in silence lift, revealing a sense of freedom she hadn't anticipated. As the discussions progressed, Jasmine couldn't help but reflect on her life. For too long, she had been seen through a lens that distorted her talents. In that moment, she recognized that her perceived status as just a cleaning lady had skewed how people viewed her capabilities. After the meeting ended, the Chinese delegation indicated they wanted to speak with Jasmine further, leaving Rebecca fuming. Here's where the real plot twist emerged. Jasmine's keen observation during those years in the shadows had birthed an insight. She was onto some of Rebecca's unethical dealings, and she'd gathered evidence over time, quietly documenting them while sweeping floors and cleaning up coffee spills. A few days later, Mr. Chun and Lisa Wong from the Chinese delegation approached her with a golden opportunity, offering her a consulting position that sent ripples of disbelief through the Wellington Industries. Jasmine realized that she had something beyond words. She had perspective and insight that could stir the pot. Before long, the company was rocked. The Chinese delegation complained about contract discrepancies, and an emergency meeting was called. Rebecca, trapped and defensive, stood in the room as Jasmine walked in, unyielding and poised. "Here's the evidence," she said, presenting her findings that meticulously dismantled Rebecca's credibility. Emails, financial documents, everything laid bare. The room fell utterly silent, and the look on David's face, pure shock. "Rebecca, you're fired," he announced. Jasmine felt the air shake as if the ground beneath her feet had shifted. Suddenly she was on her feet, being promoted to Director of International Relations. Her triumph felt surreal, as if the universe had responded to her fight with a loud cheer. Fast forward 6 months, Jasmine was thriving. Under her guidance, Wellington Industries secured contracts worth $400 million. Memories of abuse and being undervalued faded, replaced by a powerful sense of belonging. She had not only transformed her life, she was now opening doors for others, establishing an empowerment scholarship for low-income students who dreamed of a life beyond the barriers they faced. As for Rebecca, the fallout left her grappling with far more than her own demons, a poignant reminder that the tides of power can shift with a single moment of clarity and courage. Through it all, Jasmine learned one final lesson: true strength isn't about tearing down others. It's about uplifting those around you. Everyone deserves to rise. So as Jasmine's story wraps up, here's the thing. It's a reminder that even when we feel invisible, we can change the narrative. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever experienced a moment where you were underestimated, where you had to fight for your place? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this comeback story, smash that subscribe button for more tales of triumph over adversity. Until next time, keep believing in the power of your voice.